Baszler recently returned on Raw. We'll see what happens with her. I heard Vince McMahon possibly wasn't too high on her. So, I mean, nonetheless, she is back on Raw, so we'll have to see what happens. And then Shelton Benjamin rounds up the final Raw roster spot, and then we'll get into the SmackDown roster spot. But Shelton Benjamin, great seeing him at least face up against Apollo Crews for the United States Championship. But hopefully he does possibly get into it with MVP for, just to add more television time, stuff like that. But that was the Raw section. We'll get into SmackDown possibly now. All right, let's shift into the SmackDown here. The SmackDown roster again. Sorry if this video is a lot of rambling of stuff that you guys already know, but more so my take, my thoughts, my predictions, my review on the Raw SmackDown roster, as well as every champion for that matter. But I love coming back on here. It's been such a long time since coming on here, so I definitely encourage you guys to ask as many questions as you can in the comment section below. Where I've been, what's been going on, graduated college, have a radio show talking all things football, moved from Florida, moved from SmackDown to what am I saying? Moved from New Jersey to Florida, still been watching WWE, still been watching football, met a lot of football players, worked for the football team. Ask me questions, it's been such a long time. Anyway, let's get into the SmackDown roster. AJ Styles, spoke about him. Glad he's on SmackDown. We don't want him, anything going on with him and Paul Heyman behind the scenes. We don't want AJ Styles going anywhere. Alexa Bliss, her and Nikki Cross have been amazing. We'll see what can happen. I don't want to say they've been holding each other down, but hopefully they become either tag champs or women's champion. Again, Bayley and Sasha kind of taking over this women's division, and there's so many talented women and just so little for them to do as it comes to titles. Big E, his picture here, he's still holding the title. He lost it last night to Shinsuke and Cesaro. We'll see what's next for Big E. I'd love to see Big E challenge for a singles belt, but we'll have to wait and see. Bo Dallas is still on here. I know there was some sort of talk a while ago between The Fiend and Bray Wyatt, some sort of feud, and have Bo Dallas play a role, but that doesn't seem like it's coming anytime soon. Braun Strowman, we'll see him versus The Fiend, ideally at SummerSlam, it seems. Carmella, it was great seeing Carmella in Money in the Bank. Haven't really seen her too much highly since. Cesaro is the new SmackDown Women's Champion with Shinsuke, at least some sort of gold for Cesaro. Dana Brooke, it's been really good seeing Dana Brooke on SmackDown TV and in a pretty positive light. She beat Naomi, and she was in Money in the Bank, which was very good. Daniel Bryan, unfortunately falling victim in the ring in WWE to family stuff. Obviously, in real life, he's so pumped, so proud for obvious reasons. Him and Brie Bella welcoming their second child at some point soon. And Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles was amazing, but we haven't really seen Daniel Bryan since, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll have to see. But a lot of people were saying, Brie Bella, why did you get pregnant? Daniel Bryan should be Intercontinental Champion. But we'll see what's next for Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak, for that matter. Both men put on amazing showings against AJ Styles for the belt. So definitely very good there. Elias, it's been quite some time since he's kind of been the face. Not really the face, but up there. He's kind of been stuck in that mid-card spot with Baron Corbin. Where is Baron Corbin? Did I skip him? Huh. I don't know why he's not on this list. Oh, King Corbin with the K. But anyway, he's kind of been stuck in there with Baron Corbin. Kind of, bland, not much for them to do. So we'll have to see what they decide to do with him. A lot of these guys, they need that fresh start with the draft. So we'll have to see when that comes. Ember Moon, very talented women wrestler who's unfortunately been injured. And hopefully she does come back very soon. Grand Metalik from the Lucha House Party. Those guys put on a great showing at Elimination Chamber. I was kind of rooting for them at the last pay-per-view for the tag team title, so we'll have to see. Jackson Riker and all those guys from the Forgotten Sons. have kind of been forgotten, kind of swept under the rug because of political reasons. One of them tweeted Trump stuff, and apparently that was not taken too lightly backstage. So we'll have to see how long they're in the doghouse for. Jeff Hardy, I love seeing Jeff Hardy back in WWE. Jeff Hardy has been one of my favorites for such a long time. So it's great seeing Jeff back in here. That feud with Sheamus. I don't know why I have the damn sniffles. But the fact that Jeff Hardy is back is very good. I'm so excited and very excited to see what's next. The Usos. I believe one of the Usos is hurt, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll have to see when both of them come back. I know one of the Usos were on SmackDown for that Battle Royal to face when it was back in the Intercontinental Championship tournament. So we'll have to see. John Morrison, I'm so glad he is back. Him and The Miz have been extremely entertaining, right where they left off over the ECW days, the Dirt Sheet, all that stuff. So definitely glad to see John Morrison back. King Corbin, like I said, him and Elias kind of stuck in between that mid-card and main event spot, similar to Seth Rollins, where it's kind of like what more can they do or what's going to happen next. WWE has been pretty bland since COVID started, so I mean it's not their fault, so it's pretty tough. But one company that has been very exciting is TNA. And AEW. I don't necessarily watch them on a weekly consistent basis, but I watch highlights and read about it. Same with WWE. I might not necessarily watch it live, but I'm still watching right after it happens, reading highlights, stuff like that. So my knowledge is still very intensive about everything. Whether I have work or whatnot, good thing, thank God for the recordings and stuff like that. But I've been very glad to see TNA again. Heath Slater, Chris Bay, EC3 back on there. So, so we'll have to see what comes next. Kofi Kingston, same with Big E. We'll see what happens with him. Lars Sullivan, don't get me started on Lars. He has an injury and in the doghouse for multiple reasons. We'll see if he comes back and at what point and what's next. Matt Riddle. The original bro. We saw him face AJ Styles last Friday night on SmackDown for the belt. Kind of to push Matt Riddle more so to SmackDown TV. So we'll see if he continues his feud with AJ Styles or what's next for Matt Riddle. But glad to see he is on main WWE TV. Mojo Rawley. Mojo's kind of trying to find his spot. Him and Zack Ryder, Hype Bros back in the day. And then he found himself the host of WrestleMania with Rob Gronkowski. And then Rob Gronkowski joined Tom Brady with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he's gone. R-Truth took back the 24/7 title from Gronk. So Mojo Rawley kind of finds himself in that forgotten zone once again. So we'll have to see what happens there. Speaking of the Buccaneers, if you want to hear me talk football, I invite you to follow my Football Hotspot YouTube radio show where we talk about all things football as it comes to the NFL, all 32 teams, all weeks around the year talking about that. Now live in Clearwater, originally from New Jersey and Philadelphia area. Mustafa Ali, waiting on his return. They've kind of been dropping seeds for too long now, a few months. That the truth will be seen, stuff like that. We'll see if it was Mustafa Ali or Shorty G. Gable was rumors, but he is back somewhat. So we'll have to see what happens to Mustafa Ali and how they push this a little bit forward. Naomi, poor Naomi, was trending after Friday Night SmackDown last week, how she really deserves more for obvious reasons, and she really does. I really hope something happens, whether she goes to Raw, something, I don't know what, but Naomi obviously deserves more. But again, so many people deserve more, so it's so tough. There's so many talented people out there in WWE and around, AEW, TNA, Impact. There's just so many talented people and just so little for them to do. I hope you guys know what I'm saying and can agree. Same goes around for all sports, the NFL. There's so many talented quarterbacks that regular quarterbacks aren't starting anymore. Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston, Cam Newton. Well, he's on the Patriots now, but hopefully you guys catch my drift. Nikki Cross talked about her. Otis. when Heavy Machinery first joined WWE on main TV, I was kind of like, these guys. But Otis, oh my God, he is hilarious. Him and Mandy Rose are hilarious. Otis is Money in the Bank winner, which was a very entertaining pay-per-view. I love that, the pre-recorded cinematic type matches. We'll see when Otis cashes in. Definitely going to be interesting. Roman Reigns has not been seen in quite some time. We'll see when he returns. Again, was supposed to win that Universal belt from Goldberg at WrestleMania, so we'll see. As well as himself and Sami Zayn, both, again, since COVID-19, they don't want to really be involved. They don't want to be, that close to each other and so many, people. They have families and whatnot. So we'll have to see what's next for both Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn, because both guys, Roman Reigns was supposed to win the Universal title at Mania, and Sami Zayn actually walked away as Intercontinental Champion. So once those guys come back, we'll have to see. Sheamus has been feuding with Jeff Hardy, a great feud. I'm glad those guys have been in that mid-card area, but feuding with one another, strengthening that feud. Shorty G, another guy that deserves a lot. Big fan of him. Hopefully he goes back to Chad Gable, the Shorty G thing. But his online promos that he uploads over on Twitter are very exciting, and I wish nothing but the best for him. Hopefully he continues being great, and whatever it might be, something new. Hopefully very soon. The Fiend, like I mentioned, big fan of that character. He faces Braun probably as the Fiend character at SummerSlam. The Miz, talked about him and Morrison. I love that. Hopefully they can stay in that Smackdown tag picture or get even better, which they were able to have a title match against Braun, which I'm glad they did. Tucker, him and Otis. Tucker's kind of been missing since Otis has kind of separated himself. Xavier Woods, hopefully he returns soon. But that's pretty much the analyzation of the Raw and SmackDown roster, both the men and women. WWE has been trying to do their best with what they can, do as it comes to, the no fans, stuff like that, pay-per-views taped. So we'll have to see what happens, but definitely leave your comments in the comment section below. I invite you guys to do so. Ask me what's going on, stuff like that. So I want to give you guys a lot what's going on between both, wrestling, football, personal life, whatever it may be. I've always invited you guys in for the most part. So definitely want you guys to comment. You ask, I answer. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, and give your analyzation and give your thoughts as well as it comes to both the Raw and SmackDown roster. Leave your comments about AEW, TNA, stuff like that. Thank you very much. Hopefully I'm back now. I am back. Stay tuned.